I'm so glad you're here to ease back, to rest, and to listen. Before we get started, I want to share this with you. Rest is many things. Rest is a portal. Rest is a bridge from where you are to where you want to be. Rest is fuel. Rest is a soft place to land. And most of all, rest is sacred. Rest is refuge. Rest is remembrance. Rest is a revelation. You are sacred. Your rest is sacred. And if you want to infuse more of the sacredness of rest into your day to day life, I have something for you. Check out my latest book, Rest is Sacred, at www.restisacred.com. Okay, enjoy your listen. Welcome to Leaders Devoted to Rest, where we explore how rest is a sacred practice that awakens both possibility and power within you. I'm your guide, Octavia, Faith, and Raheem. In each episode, I chat with a leader whose life has been positively transformed through their devotion to rest. Now, you know we aren't just going to sit up here and talk about rest. We are going to actually lay down. Each episode ends with a rest practice for you to try at home. Rest is fuel, and you are in the right place to fuel up. So grab your favorite pillow, blanket, cozy socks, and journal, and ease on back as we begin another restorative episode. Today I am chatting with Cherese Brauer. Cherese is a free Black woman who prioritizes her joy, her rest, and her well-being. She is a leadership coach who helps Black women flourish. And she's also a voice artist who helps bring stories and messages to life. Cherese enjoys the nectar of this life by operating at an unhurried pace. She also does this by traveling and dancing and reading and spending time with her beloveds. In this episode, we talk about the importance of saying no to busyness in order to say yes to rest, yes to freedom, and yes to leisure. We talk about what it means to savor, to truly savor this one wild and precious life. Cherese Brauer, welcome to Leaders Devoted to Rest. I want to start by stopping how we do when I get in community with people. So, if you don't mind, start by stopping with me. Your eyes can be open, your eyes can be closed. If you keep your eyes open, just gaze someplace at some point that's not moving. And together we'll simply receive 3 breaths in through the nose and out the nose or mouth, through the nose and out the nose or mouth. And let's inhale together and exhale with a sigh. I already said thank you. I could say it again and again. Thank you for being here, Cherese. So, one of my favorite writers and thinkers and poets, Sandra Cisneros, says to say the name is to begin the story. And so I'm going to invite you to share your name, even though I'm saying it, but it's important for the people to hear you say your own name, and then to tell us who you are and where you're arriving from today.
I'm so happy to be here with you and happy that you're doing this. I am Cherese Brauer, and I am a brilliant Black woman who is learning and practicing how to take exceptional care of myself. And I've been thinking a lot about how I want to show up for Cherese. For me, I am more carefree and lighthearted than I've allowed myself to be. I I'm here now. I'm also shedding and releasing just a lot of stuff, right? A lot of the conditioning and the socialization of who I should have been and for whom. And now I really only care about being the best Charisse for myself. And so that's where I am. I made some draconian changes to my life about a year and a half ago because workaholism, people pleasing, and just fuzzy boundaries
Mm,
made me extremely sick,
mm,
physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and really diminished my quality of life. And I was sharing this with someone the other day. The thing that scared me the most, and there were many, many scary things happening to me during that time when I kept pushing and overriding and not listening to my body the first time. I was so deeply exhausted. I mean, high functioning, outperforming,
mhm,
deeply, deeply exhausted. And exhaustion really extinguished my imagination. And I'm in the work of social impact and building capacity in young human beings so that they can actualize their dreams. And when I realized that in the way I was showing up for that work
mm,
was diminishing my ability to do the exact thing that I was trying to do for others, I didn't even have the energy to imagine and dream and daydream. And so today, I am arriving well rested, well loved, and well resourced. And
mm.
you have a lot to do with that. So thank you.
You know what, Cherise? I I'm like resisting doing a holy lap around the room when you say today, period, or dot dot dot. I am arriving, rested and resourced. I would add, you feel clear and grounded. And you told me that your last name is pronounced Brower, rhymes with power. It feels like you're arriving really anchored in and expansive in your power as a human, as a woman, as a leader. You said two things that struck me that I just want to lift up, and that was just that exhaustion had extinguished your imagination. Why does that matter?
Oh my goodness. It matters so much.
Because I know, and I'm lifting it up for the very high achieving adult leader who's like, are we really like lifting up imagine why does it matter if my imagination as a leader is becoming extinguished through non-sustainable living and work practices? Why does that matter?
Mm.
According to you, because that's the other thing. It's like I'm a rest coach, I'm a restorative practitioner. I'm an expert in a way, and you're an expert. I know this from our relationship, our coaching relationship. You're an expert in that you are an experienced. rester. You actually do this, right? You're not reading about it. You're not
Mm-mm.
resharing memes about it. You are in a deep embodied practice of uncovering what rest and awakening is for you. And so I know that you have some wisdom around. So why? If something is extinguishing my imagination, why why does it matter?
Listen,
According to you.
to hear that question posed back is, ah, yeah. Hmm. I Imagination, creativity, dreaming, abundance, tinkering,
Mhm.
they're all of these words that are in this bubble of imagination, creativity, and one, I love my imagination, right? I love my relationship with my imagination. It was one of the earliest ways that I heard my own voice and my own thoughts as someone who most of my life has overvalued other people's opinions over mine.
Mhm.
And so my imagination is my source of creation and abundance and playfulness and expansiveness, right? And awe.
Mhm.
And so it was really important because I wasn't able to think beyond what was right in front of me. I was so limited and I couldn't challenge, I couldn't be curious. I think curiosity is another manifestation of imagination as well. And a lot of that is because I was so deeply dysregulated.
Mhm.
My limbic system was hijacked, and I come from a world, a professional world, and a personal world where being measured and respectable and stoic are prized behaviors, attributes. And the way that I accessed and embodied those qualities as the stakes became higher in my profession, I was climbing that ladder and all of those things, which that's part of my soul's curriculum, right? So
That's right.
it's all to the good. But I'll tell you, I didn't think I had any option. I didn't think I had bountiful options. And that is what I think, to go back to that question around what made about noticing my exhaustion was extinguishing my imagination. It's because then I really struggled to believe that I had plenty of options. And for Black girls and Black women and femme identifying people to believe I had plenty of options because the American society is constructed on limiting our beliefs about ourselves, right? So to counter those narratives of limiting beliefs and know I got plenty of options and I actually have agency to create them. What we doing? Where we going? How we gonna get this? Sis? Like, let's go, right? That is what's coming up for me in response to that question.
Thank you. Thank you. I I w there are so many things I wanna lift up, and some of it's just like words floating and the dots will connect as when they do or as they do. Soul curriculum, you said. That's part of my soul's curriculum. Like where I have been, how it has been, some of that's my soul curriculum. And then just what you just said, like, I have bountiful options. Sis, where we going? What are we doing? And what I often say when I'm working with individuals or organizations is how it is or how it has been is not how it has to be. And that seems so simple. And the
Mhm,
repetition of that question helps us to start to really see that there's a way it has been that we're clicking the subscribe button over and over and over, even when we no longer want to be subscribed to that way of being or thinking. Um, Earlier in the conversation, you said, "Well, I'm centering care for me." And I know that rest is a part of your care package for yourself. And I was wondering if you could share a little bit more about um, what rest has awakened for you within.
mhm,
The context could be today, it can be the week, the month, the year, and how rest has informed how you care for the divine being, the sacred
mm.
being that is yourself.
Ooh. Well, one, rest has reawakened my creativity, right? It has reawakened my brilliance, right? And my power, my personal inherent power. And once I started resting and reverse engineering my life so rest is first. I
Mm,
remember a long time ago, we were doing restorative yoga together, and it was early in my day or something. And I remember saying to you, "So I'm getting ready to wake up and just rest?" And you were like, "Yeah, okay. She tripping, but okay, girl." And then I got on that mat, got supported. And so rest has awakened support. And for me to access my true voice, not the voices of my family and my friends and my community and my neighborhood and society, not all of these circles of influence, what I really think and feel, and to just honor that and be in real relationship with myself. Today, my favorite relationship is my relationship with myself. I've never said those words before. That wasn't explicitly made clear to me. People say, "Oh, you got to love yourself." Rest awaken how that looks for me.
mm, mhm. Thank you. How does it look to you?
Oh, it's so good. Took my notes. Well, first of all,
Sharice, can I also just say, I love that you have notes. You said, I have, because it actually, you're speaking about voice so much, right? And what it communicates to me is that you're like, I have something to say and I want to be clear in what I'm saying. And we on here talking about rest. And I also want to name and acknowledge the effort you put into your preparation so that we could be here with ease. And so we can also um, offer something to whoever hears this that is allows for a kind of soul revival. Because,
mm,
as I'm sitting here just listening to you as your teacher, coach, and friend, I feel so proud. And it was part of why I'm like, I wanna have these conversations with the leaders I've been resting in community with, and we've been doing this deep inner work that if all you see is the meme, it seems like, "Oh, that's so" I don't know, glamorous. I don't know what it looks like actually. I know what it feels like on the inside is like digging down into the dirt. Some level of excavation is
Mhm,
fierce and gentle, and
mhm,
so I'm just lifting up that you showed up prepared and ready and also open to the unfolding flow that is here. Um, so thank you. And when you
thank
say,
you.
I got some notes, let me check my notes." I just wanted to honor and acknowledge that
Oh,
um,
yeah.
we are educators on here.
Mhm,
we, we,
mhm.
we have some notes.
We have notes.
So how does that look to you? You were and this is like the heart of what I'm really interested in because I share a lot about what my rest practices look like for me and then what my creative practices look like and then how that impacts my life and my work and my loving and all of that. And that's my how and there is no one singular how. And part of the beauty of awakening to the
Mhm,
power of rest is you start to get your own internal downloads around this is how I need it to look for me, and this is what's going to best serve me in this season of life
mhm.
or whatever it is. So tell us more about your how. Your how.
My how. So it started with me centering me first, then me. Okay. Be very honest about that. And what I love about that is it's been working
Mm,
because it goes back to, and I'll use a term that a really good friend of mine says that, her relationship with herself is her superpower. And I remember she said, that, I was like, wow, I want that, you know?
mhm, mhm, mhm,
And um, for me, you talked about the divine beloved and the divine beloved within myself. I am a manifestation of the divine beloved, right? I'm a manifestation of source, of God, of spirit. And for me to co
mm,
create with the divine and all the positive, benevolent energy that made it possible for us to be here, right? Um, and I have really been thinking about trust, self trust, trusting my intuition, trusting love, right? We, you've introduced the concept of a sankalpa for 40 days. And I remember my very first one when whew, I was mighty, mighty low. Okay. And I remember rest being a way for me to access my resources. And all I could say for my sankalpa was, I am held always and always. And I must have said that for over a year.
mm,
Um,
mm,
so there's that. I think my discernment, I know my discernment has strengthened because I spend a lot of time valuing my solitude. And it's changing my relationship with my body. I had to apologize to myself and my body for treating her poorly,
mm,
because it was modeled. That has been modeled for me, right? Others have treated my body poorly. And so
mm,
I had to reparent myself and say, oh, no, 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 you do so much. Look at you. right? And my body is how I experience the color yellow, right? My body is how I experience my favorite sound. My body is how I experience temperature, right? Um, and so being well rested, I'm having this amazing revival, this self renaissance with myself. And I'm like, oh, and now I am shifting from what my life looks like
Mhm.
because so much of what my life looked like were the hopes and dreams of so many other people. And we shared many of those dreams, like my foremothers, my lineage, right? But I was doing too much work to make those dreams come true. And I was like, wait a minute, I got other dreams. I got real Cherese still got some dreams, 6-year-old Cherese,
Mm,
13-year-old Cherese, 19-year-old Cherese. Like, I got dreams to remember and do something with. And then those dreams then brought me to my desires.
mhm.
And so I think the question was, how does that look right now?
Yeah.
One, operating at an unhurried pace. I don't rush to do anything. That doesn't mean I'm moving slow all the time. However, moving more slowly and at an unhurried pace cultivates so much presence, first and foremost with myself,
Mm,
right? I'm so much more thoughtful. And so that translates into very slow, luscious mornings that are very spacious. I used to wake up and have probably like a 5-minute panic attack for almost 2 years
mm,
and a sense of dread.
mm.
Now I wake up refreshed. I wake up clear.
Amen.
I wake up like I got energy,
Mm,
right? And I pour that me first, then me, right? Now I'm waking up without an alarm clock. My body is like, let's get up between 6 and 6:30, right? I journal, I pray. I have my prayers on my notes app in my phone, and I recite my prayers aloud every day for me. I picked my prayers, right?
mhm,
I didn't take the Lord's Prayer from my, religious upbringing. I didn't take, St. Francis of Assisi's prayer, make me an instrument of your peace, even though I love that prayer. I got my own prayers. And I affirm myself. I have tea. I slow down. I take time to boil hot tea in the kettle every day because I got time. And I meditate, I breathe. I did some pranic alignment this morning. I'm in the process of doing that pranic alignment. And so all of this helps me listen to my body and trust it the first time and be like, okay, wait a minute, girl, what you saying? What you need? Because that wisdom is right at my fingertips, right? It's in me. And so that's part of the reason why I feel so resourced. I'm a resilient problem solver, but I'm a creative problem solver. And guess what? I'm designing a swoon worthy life of just ease and lightheartedness and play. All of those things, rest helps me remember myself. I get to spend time with it.
mm. I am designing a swoon-worthy life to myself.
For me, I swoon
Yeah.
over my life. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, beautiful. Cherese, what are you devoted to creating? So you have lifted up imagination,
Mhm.
and that's the seedling, right? It drops in, we imagine it, we feel it, we go, oh, from imagination, it becomes like we get curious. Can I make that real? If so, how? And you shared some of that. And we know we're devoted to rest. That's why we're here talking. We also know we're leaders, self leaders, world leaders, community leaders, family leaders, rest leaders. And what else are you devoted to creating in your lifetime?
Mm,
From that seedling of imagination,
mm,
you brought it all the
mm.
way down for us. So, what else are you devoted to creating, to seeing forward and through?
This is such a great question. I'm still in process.
Yes.
So just know I don't really know the full answer. I can try. You know, I am creating the conditions for me to flourish in this lifetime. I am creating the conditions for me to love myself exactly as I am. And if I change, I said me first and me, right? So of course it's two for me first. And I hope that that creates a magnet, some kind of virtuous circle, first for other Black girls and women. And then we know the ripple effect goes out from there. I am, ooh, I'm getting a little emotional thinking about this, Octavia. You know, of course, there's ease, right? And I'm okay with making things easier for myself. Yeah, because that's a disruption for me to say, I'm actually going to make this easier because I'm not caught up in trying to prove my worth or how hard I could work. Peace. I'm done. I'm done with work. The way I'm trying to retire that word and replace it with how do I really want to spend my time? How do I really want to engage and activate with my gifts and my genius? Right? They're different questions. And I think I talked to you about releasing what my life looks like and paying attention to what it feels like.
Yes.
And I was in a session with with a group of brilliant Black women, and one of my teachers, we were doing we were reading a script, and she gave us different emotions. Shout out to Cassandra around on that. And mine was excitement. And at first I got excitement and I was like, I kind of wanted something a little more challenging than excitement. Right? I'm a pretty excitable person. And it was rigorous because I had to access more nuance and not what was at the surface. And she said, when do Black women really just give themselves an opportunity to be fully, fully excited?
Mm,
And I said, oh, if I'm fully excited about something, the contingency plan can't be sitting on my right shoulder or in my back
that's
pocket.
that's right. Mhm.
Because it's like, oh, it's only a crumb of excitement. And so I asked the divine beloved and all of my ancestors and spirit guides, I think I heard you say light, bright, and well in spirit, right? Show me how good it can get. And may I be a part of that movement of showing others of how good it can get.
Thank you, Cherese. I know part of your Black genius is your coach.
Mm,
You know, I think we met in 2018, and I'm just sitting here like, this is not the same Cherise. That was excellent executive, Cherise. And I can see this both rooted and expansive um, genius of your being unfold. And I want you to name that you're a coach because even then, like you coach folks informally, formally. If you get in the room with Cerise, you will be inspired
mm,
to deeply reflect and then pull that reflection forward and take action aligned with whatever was revealed in that reflection. Like, I just know this about you. So I want you to tell us. You
mm,
said this virtuous circle unfolding, but we're going to name that a little more specifically because there is a way that you're curating that
mm.
virtuous unfolding, curating with ease and also some precision. So if you could tell us a little bit about your coaching practice, if you want to,
Yes.
and even how you arrived at that
Mm.
offering, since you have challenged me even to retire the word work. So tell us about that. And then after you share that, we'll move down into some rest together. How's that sound?
Oh, I'd love that.
Okay.
Yes. So I am a practicing coach. I am a leadership coach. So, and my experience has been mostly with women of color leaders in the public education space. That has been my experience since 2016. And now, and I've always wanted to work with women of color. And I've worked with men and I've worked with, white folks. And the refinement of my coaching practice, I still work with education leaders and nonprofit and social impact leaders and women of color. More and more, my practice is devoted to helping Black women leaders flourish. And my hope and dream for my practice as I nurture it and it evolves is that it is a space of safe harbor for Black women leaders.
Mhm.
And Black women are leading in so many ways. Of course, in the professional space. And I do believe there is some level of spiritual warfare that Black women leaders and Black women experience in the American workplace because of what this country was founded on, right? All of the systems that people actually have language and awareness of now. And so for my coaching, it's a place of safe harbor. You talked about that excellent executive, right? And the more you lead, the more that scales, the more high stakes it becomes, the more isolating it can be. And
Yeah.
the less we believe that we can face the risks of being our authentic selves, being our fullest selves. We're still editing at such a high level. And I just see how much self harm that can do. I know how much self harm that I experienced by constantly editing myself and the isolation. Um, I want to do something to create a different option in reality for Black women leaders, right? And I think about how much we are designing. Black women are designers and creatives. Every day we look at ourselves in the mirror and we make choices about how we tend to ourselves. We are designing and creating. And whatever we were doing at 8 o'clock in the morning in 1986 then became the trend in 1993, right? And then now that's accelerated, right? In this space. I want to help Black women flourish. That's the bottom line. That's what my coaching is about. How can I support you in flourishing and reminding yourself you got plenty of options? And there's nothing in this coaching space you could say that you need to be self conscious about. It is not a punitive space.
Beautiful. It's a place of safe harbor.
It's a place of safe harbor.
Yeah. Okay. Can we receive a breath together in through the nose? Out through the nose or the mouth. Cherese, you have blessed me, and I know hearing the sound of your voice, your unedited truth, and your genius and brilliance will bless others. So, when I'm in a space with just about anyone, I will always ask you, what part of you is most in need of rest? And and you also know that I will offer you an opportunity to say it aloud, but the real point is to simply you don't have to answer the question for me or anybody else listening. You're answering the question, what part of you is most in need of rest for and to yourself. And then now I also know and appreciate and see it appreciated when I ask, what's really awakened within you? And you can take whichever option right now serves you best. What part of you is most in need of rest? What's really awakened within you? And then we're gonna lay down with that part. So, do you have your answer?
I do. It's two
Okay.
words instead of one. I tried.
That's okay. It can be it can be two two words. And so my invitation is gonna be for you to hold those two words, which are likely indicative of some place or some aspect of your being or identity that's in need of rest, to hold them steady, closely, and yet lightly, and then get ready to lay down. And for this, I'm going to invite you to turn the camera off. And if you want to share aloud, you can. If you put into the chat what the to a private chat what the two words are, what I'm going to do right here is design a rest practice to support that part of you that's most in need of rest. Because I think that's what you answered versus what's most awake for you. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. How's that sound?
It sounds great. I'm going to put it in the chat. May I ask permission to share it aloud because I want to ask for help?
Yes, I'm just offering whatever makes you feel the most held and
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
do that. Yeah.
I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to say it out loud so that
Okay.
I can ask for help from everyone who experiences this and is impacted by this experience that you've created. What is in need of most rest for me right now is future planning.
Okay. 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 Thank you so much for sharing that out loud. I know that will serve someone to hear that, and I know it's a risk to say, "Here's what's needing the rest within me." I think as a leader, it can even feel risky just to say, "I need rest. I'm tired. I'm in this piece," right? So, I don't take that we're having this conversation in a public way, and that you have also revealed, like, "Here's the part of me that's most in need of rest." Okay. So I'm gonna go off camera. I'm gonna invite you to go off camera, or maybe I'll stay. I'll stay because we're recording. um, so as you prepare to rest, begin to move 1% slower than your mind and body might tell you to, without forcing it to be that way. Just see if you can move 1% slower. And depending on where you are, you might decide to sit in a chair, but put your head down at your desk. If it's available to you and you're in a safe place, you can lay down. How you set up to rest is a rest practice. It is an essential part of the practice. And if that's what you have access to doing right now, then you do that. As you're setting up, notice notice your body. And as you're setting up and you start to notice and tune into your body, notice your breath. Noticing does not mean shifting, changing, or manipulating in any way. And what often happens, what we start to pay attention to, let's say the breath, it will organically deepen. So, what are we doing right now? We are setting conditions for us to rest. And what we are collectively and then individually resting for right now is the part that is often future planning. I'm going to invite you to consider this awareness of the body is also awareness of the present moment. And part of that is simply because the body can only be here and now. Yet the mind, with its vast imagination and so many multi layers and textures, can be in 1987 and scoot forward into 2030 and then drop back into what was happening 2 minutes ago. And that's a beautiful capacity. And unchecked, it can be an exhausting capacity and pattern. So, my first offering to resting future planning is simply going to be to bring awareness to what is supporting you right now, the chair, the floor, and to notice where that tool of support, chair or floor, whatever it is, touches your body. And notice your body becoming aware of the support available to it, to you. And then return your attention and awareness to your breath. Notice the inhale and notice the exhale. So we're noticing the movement of the breath, the inhale and the exhale. And then the movement of breath is ultimately made possible because there's a pause. It's just like the sound we hear within rhythm is possible because of the space or the pause. So after your next inhalation, notice the pause. And then after your next exhalation, notice the pause. And again, we aren't manipulating, shifting, changing. We're not tugging on the breath in any way, trying to make it do anything. We are just witnessing. First, we looked at and then witnessed the movement of the breath, the inhale and the exhale. And now we're just noticing, oh, there's a pause right there. So notice the pause. And then we'll combine this awareness of the movement and the stillness together. So notice your next inhalation and then notice the pause. Then notice the exhale and then notice the pause. And just do that 2 more times on your own. Notice the inhale, that movement, and the pause. Notice the exhale, that movement, and the pause. And again, 1 more time. And then allow your attention or awareness that's focused on that movement and stillness of breath to soften. And on your next inhalation, just silently, internally say, I am here. And then on your next exhalation, internally, silently say, I am here. Inhale, I am here. Exhale, 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 I am here. Continue that on your own for 1 minute. And if the words float away, let them float. You don't reach forward to grab them or reach back to grab them. You just notice, okay, the words drifted away. 1 minute. Notice your breath. Notice your body and that it is being supported and held right now. We may not know what tomorrow holds. We do know that we are held. There's a time and a place for all things. There's a time for rest. There's a time for creating and doing. There's a time for planning. This is a time for presence. As you come back into, I invite you to now inhale and say in a whisper, I am here. And exhale, say in a whisper, I am here. And then let that speaking voice become louder. Inhale, I am here. Exhale, I am here. And then in your normal speaking voice, as you come back up, I am here. I am here. I am here. So you are welcome to continue with that statement, that repetition. I am here. I am here. You're welcome to let it go and keep resting. You are also welcome to journal and free write for the next 30 seconds or so. When you are ready, Cherese, you can come back and you shared when we began that you are arriving. I can sum it up into I am arriving well. I am well. And on some level, that can seem like, what? Like the statement is understated. And as a leader and a human, I know where you have been. And for you to arrive today and say, I am arriving rested and well, I know that a true internal transformation has happened. I know that an awakening to your own sacredness has occurred. And I know a willingness and devotion to rest and commitment to really exploring how rest is a sacred practice has happened. And that is why you could show up the way you did today. Cherise, I would love for you to share, if you feel willing to, how are you leaving?
Oh, how am I leaving? Grateful. And I got clear about two nuggets that I wrote down. Operating at an unhurried pace is one of my most consistent awakened rest practices. We talked about this concept of awakened rest. Like, still working, right? Like, yes, consistency with that. It just creates spaciousness for me. And I am leaving grateful and clear. And I started preparing for this last night before bed. And the question was like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "I'm Cherese. I'm a brilliant Black woman." Right. And I was like, "Oh." And so I'm leaving affirming myself I am Cherese. I am a brilliant, fat Black woman
Come on now.
who loves herself.
Who loves herself? Yeah. Let us all breathe that in and release that forward into the world. Cherese, I'm going to call you Cherese Power. Can you tell us where we can find you, follow your lead as a human being, embodying, exploring, tinkering with, playing with, rest and awakening? Can you tell us?
Right now,
Yes, ma'am.
the main space where I can be supported and held is through my coaching practice for brilliant Black women. You can find me at www.counterthenarrative.com. Share it with a brilliant Black woman. Share it with yourself if you're a brilliant Black woman. I it is my honor. I have been held and loved so well by Black women. And that is my love language, to support Black women in flourishing in their lives. So that's where you can find me right now. Got some other things in the kitchen that, I'll share later, but that's the main place right now
Okay.
for coaching.
Okay. And it will also be in the show notes. Thank you,
Mm,
Sharice. Counter the narrative. I love that website. Like I'm like, yeah, we that's a whole nother conversation. Counter the narrative. Sharice, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you for allowing us out all to rest the future planning. We can pick that up whenever we want to, maybe today, not so much. Thank you so much for being here, Sharice.
thank you. This was exactly how I wanted to spend my time today with you. Thank you, Octavia. Peace and
Thank you.
blessings.
Thank you so much for listening. And you are still here. I hope that means that you enjoy the episode. Before moving on to the next thing, I have an invitation for you. If you can, pause and notice your breath. Notice your inhale and notice your exhale. As you reflect on this episode, what did you hear that was interesting or inspiring? What did you learn? What did this episode wake up within you? What did this episode allow to rest within you? Thank you again so much for being here. You are sacred. Your rest is sacred. And you being here and you staying here affirm that you can be devoted to rest, that you can be a leader and devoted to rest. Until next time.